हो गया जी देखो।
Hey, welcome on everyone. Am I audible to all of you?
Yes, ma'am.
Yes, ma'am, you're audible.
Thank you so much. So, this is your first section in Learn the Rope, right? English 1, no? So, you might have read a little bit about the session, what we do during the session in the introductory announcement that you might have got. But I think it should even be available on the website somewhere, right? I'll brief you on what we usually do during these sessions. But let me introduce myself. My name is Lida, and I'm going to be engaging with you for this semester on mostly this session. We have certain other additional sessions as well. Other people will meet with you and all that. I will talk to you for this session, and you'll also see me during the live sessions that usually happen on Saturdays. We had one this week. Quite a lot of you were there. That happens weekly, and even the Learn the Rope sessions would happen every week on Tuesday at the same time. Okay. So that is like a quick introduction to myself. I am a course instructor with the online degree program at IIT Madras, and I am with the English division. Okay. So for Learn the Rope sessions, what we plan to do, or we have been doing for a while, is that we take contents from the week and discuss the difficult part with you. Okay, not all of it would be discussed for sure, but the part which we think is difficult, we take it up and have like a quick discussion on that. But mostly, it won't be a teaching session, right? So I'm not going to sit here and give you lectures, because your video lectures are more than enough for you to deal with the contents. So not going to be doing that. But the major focus of the class for the coming sessions would be to give you more practice with the topics that we think are difficult, right? Which means you're going to have practice worksheets, which we solve together in the class, right? You can also utilize this time period to ask of your doubts from the week's contents. So either it could happen in this session, or you could, if you're not able to join this session for whatever reasons, you can come to the live session that happens on Saturdays, right? So both of these sessions you can utilize for your doubt clearance, but the live sessions usually happen only for, it is exclusively meant for the doubt clearance part, okay? Here, we'll also do certain worksheets and practice questions. Okay. The topics would be mostly in grammar. We are not going to deal with topics in speaking and reading and all that, because a lot of that has to be, it is expected to be done by yourself. But if you face difficulties, if you need any directions with respect to this, then you can talk about that too in this class, right? So that is the part on what would we be doing in the class. The details of the class, which is the worksheets that we use and the PPTs, if any, All the sessions may not have a PPT, but a few of them might. So whatever materials we use for the class, they would be uploaded into your supplementary tab once the session is over. So you can access all of this content from there, right? Yeah, I think that's all. That's all about the general certain guidelines and some instructions that I had to discuss with you. Ritesh, do you have a question? I'm not able to hear you. All right, please check the audio on your part. I'll go to Pavan page and ask him his problems and then.
I'm not like a doubt, ma'am, but the ones we discussed today, like will they come in the qualifier exam? Like, are there any things?
No. I am not going to promise you anything of that sort. See, this session is mostly meant for the practice part. Okay.
Okay.
When you come for the qualifier exam, I don't think that's anything that I can answer. The questions that we discussed here are a little different from what you usually see in the activity questions that you have, because I don't want to be repetitive on. I don't want to make this a tuition class, right?
Yes.
So what I expect is that we discuss a few things which would be, say, one or two notch higher than what you already see in the assignment questions. It's also to put you in touch with a little more elaborate part of the language learning. Okay,
Right.
but yes, you can bring in the questions from your assignments or quizzes too. Just make sure that you don't ask questions from the assignment that is due this week, right?
Yes.
So we will not be discussing that, which means I'm not going to help you solve your assignments. You can bring those questions here once the deadline is done, and we can discuss that. Okay.
Okay.
Yeah. All right. Ritesh, are you here now? You are not audible to me. I don't know if it is with others as well. I can't hear you. Yeah. Yes. We can maybe leave the session and then join that. Sudhanshu. Sudhanshu, you can ask a question.
Ma'am, I can ask a question, AQ 1.1 question, first and second.
Sorry?
AQ level assignment 1 का फर्स्ट एंड सेकंड क्वेश्चन में मुझे कुछ पूछना है, जैसे उसमें शेयर करें मिनट्स में.
Sudhanshu, I can't hear you also properly. I just heard question 1
Yeah.
and 2. But more importantly, you tell me, are we done with the deadline for this assignment 1?
14.
No,
No?
Ma'am, he's asking. Hello, ma'am.
No, right? Okay. If you are not done with it, then let's not discuss it here, because I don't want to create problems. Otherwise, people would complain that this is discussed in the session. And okay.
hello, ma'am.
Hello, ma'am.
I
think he's asking activity question.
Do not speak over each other.
Ma'am,
Just give me a minute. I just be back in a minute.
I think Sudhanshu is asking activity question, right?
Now, what is Sudhanshu asking?
Ma'am, he is asking activity question, not the grade 8 question.
Oh, he's asking the activity question. Okay, yeah, you can
Yes.
ask the activity question.
Yeah.
Okay, so but just for the moment, don't change this completely into your doubt clearing session. I just meant that if you have doubts, you can ask them. It does not mean that you bring questions from this thing and ask here. The session is meant for a very different purpose. But because this is the first class, maybe you can go ahead. This will not be the case for other classes, all right? Okay, Sudhanshu, what is activity question? What is the question that you want a clarification on?
Just a input from environment in the language learning are systematic and infinite.
Hmm.
Yeah, but this is the I know infinite and grammatically inputs environment. This is false.
What is the sentence again? Language learning is systematic and
उसका आउटपुट जो है मैम वो ग्रामेटिकली एंड इनफिनाइट होता है, और वो इसमें हम ट्रू दिए हुए थे, बट सेकंड क्वेश्चन में है द ह्यूमन मैन प्रोसेस द फजी इनपुट एंड प्रोड्यूस ए सिस्टमैटिक ग्रामेटिकली एंड इनफिनाइट आउटपुट्स. दिस इज ट्रू. हाउ?
अच्छा, तो see what they are trying to say is कि जो input दिया जाता है that is usually fuzzy, right? It is not orderly or anything, but the mental grammar processes it and brings out the output that is systematic and that can be infinite. Okay, that is what it's said. जैसे आप example ले लीजिए, आप sounds की बात करें, right? तो किसी भी भाषा में जो sounds की जो number होती है वो finite होती है, ठीक है? You have say 50 or 56, it depends how many sounds. In English you have 44, उससे ज़्यादा जाता नहीं है. तो उस 44 sound से आप चाहे तो you can create as many words as you want, right? तो इसका मतलब वही है कि input जो होता है वो बहुत finite होता है, लेकिन जो output आपको मिलता है उससे वो बहुत सारी हो सकती है, ठीक है? सेंटेंस के मामले में भी ऐसे ही होता है. आपके वर्ड्स शायद कुछ ही हो, लेकिन उससे जितने सेंटेंसेस आप बना पाएंगे वो बहुत ज्यादा होंगे, राइट? और सिस्टमैटिक आउटपुट का क्या मतलब है कि देयर इज समथिंग कॉल्ड यूनिवर्सल ग्रामर. उसमें आप रूल्स वगैरह यूज करते हो और जो आपको सेंटेंस मिलता है दैट इज बेस्ड ऑन द रूल्स दैट यू हैव अप्लाइड, राइट? वो किसी रैंडम नहीं होता. दैट्स द मीनिंग. ओके,
ओके.
These sessions are not mandatory. Yeah, you can watch it later on the YouTube also. There is no compulsion that you need to be there. Okay. Hello, ठीक है. All right. So let's do one thing. For today's class, we'll begin discussing on what you have seen in week 1, right? So mostly you have discussed the sound systems of English in the first week. So any doubts that you have from that part? Arpita, I see your hand raised. You can ask.
Yes, ma'am. My question is in activity 1.2, there is a question. There are dash alphabets in English.
There are dash alphabets in English, yeah.
And the correct answer is 26.
Yeah.
But there are 26 letters. Alphabet is only one, right? This is what I wanted to ask.
Excuse me, ma'am. Please share the display to all of the students because I have no laptop or PC at the time.
We'll do that once the session starts, Rupesh.
Yeah, ma'am.
I don't know who spoke. I see 2 people unmuted. I'll share it shortly. Arpita, yes, it is 26 letters, not alphabet. Alphabet is actually the system.
Yeah, so is it wrong or is it correct?
People use it, it is not wrong, but the accurate usage would be as you said. It's usually letters. You say 26 letters and the alphabet is the system. So
Okay.
it's all right. But does it affect the answer in any sense? Which is
Like-
the question?
Like there are countries which have more than like German has like more than one alphabet.
That is okay. I got that point. I'm asking with respect to the question you have in activity.
Yeah.
Does the option or anything that you have it affect your answers in any sense?
Like
Will it
I
change?
first I wrote one and then it showed that it's wrong. The correct
Acha.
answer.
Okay.
26.
Could you please write this to the forum so they will make the change in the question accordingly?
Okay.
Ha.
Thank you.
Okay, no problem. Okay, so can you elaborate on diphthongs? Yes, we're going to talk about that very shortly. So I'll share the screen with you. We'll start. This is who? Somebody else had the hands of Ritik. Ritik and Rajalakshmi, if it is something related to this, then please go ahead.
Yes, ma'am.
Yeah,
Yes, ma'am.
Rajalakshmi.
I have a question.
in the week 1, we were introduced to many vowel and consonant sounds, right? They have shown the representations of all the sounds also. So my question is, are they expecting to memorize the representation of all the vowel and consonant sounds, or their usage is enough? Is that that's what is my
So
question?
are you referring to the phonetic symbols?
Yes, phonetic symbols.
You don't have to. You don't have to learn any of the phonetic symbols, at least from the exam point of view. But it is always good to know it because you will learn to distinguish sounds better in usage.
Yes,
but no
yes. But
Okay, as long as
memorization wise, it's not necessary.
it
Right?
is not something that you memorize, but I get your point. Usually,
Yes.
it becomes a habit once you start using it. But
Yes,
from the
yes.
exam point of view, no, you don't have to learn those phonetic alphabets. It's not required.
Thank
Letters
you.
are not required.
Thank you, ma'am.
Okay.
Activity
Ma'am, my doubt is regarding the statics class, office hour class. I am not able to join, ma'am. Google Meet
Which
classes
class?
from yesterday.
Which class? Sorry.
Office hour class of statistics.
Oh, I do not know about the statistics class. You know, you will have to you write to the support team. They will help you if anything.
Ma'am, today the computational thinking classes also I am not able to join. The office hour classes I am not able to join. That
Okay.
are via
I
Google
get
Meet.
your point, but we don't work in the technical wing. Okay, we are mostly with the content team. So you will have to
So I have to mail only, ma'am.
Write to the support team and they will help you with how you can join and what other no technicalities are there along with it.
Okay, ma'am. Thank you.
Yeah. Okay. So we'll start. For today's class, I'll quickly take it. What is Devajyoti and Pranjali? You have anything related to this?
Yes, ma'am. Doubt regarding to what Rajalakshmi already pointed out. The articulation, ma'am. Can I speak just a second?
Yes. Go ahead.
Yeah, ma'am. The articulation one. There were a few activity questions which included like identifying the phonetic sounds. But in the graded assignment, much emphasis to the grade to this phonetic sounds, and the articulation was not given. So will there like the significance of these portions of these lectures be there in the final qualifier exams, or will it be comparatively less or not be there?
You mean identification of sounds, right?
Yes, ma'am. The identification of
Yes.
sounds.
You will have questions in identification of sounds, like you will have questions in what's a short vowel, long vowel, or what is the sound that you hear at this point.
So, ma'am, we need to remember those portions, like rote
memory.
memory.
Why do you have to remember sounds? You just need to identify them, no? That's enough.
Means a thorough understanding is required, right?
Yeah. You need to ear train yourself to understand these sounds well, especially the vowels. Consonants won't be a big trouble for you. The vowels can create a little bit of a trouble with respect to short and long, so that you need to train yourself.
Exactly, ma'am.
But even in that case, I don't think you need to memorize anything.
Okay.
Okay.
Just a thorough understanding is required.
Yes.
Okay, ma'am.
Yeah.
Thank you, ma'am.
Okay. No
And ma'am, what is the objective of today class?
We'll be doing the class very shortly. I'm just trying to finish off a few quick questions that people might have. We'll look at the week one contents.
I have one question. This is Sampath here.
Yes, please.
Yeah, I just wanted to know, like, is the lectures and the PPT slides that is in the content slide, course slides, is that enough, or do we have any?
That's more than enough. You don't have to go around looking at any other references or books. Okay. Whatever video lectures and the slides you have, or any materials that's supplied to you from our end, should be more than enough. No need of hunting for other resources elsewhere.
Okay, thank you.
All right, now we'll start.
Ma'am, I have a doubt regarding this question.
Okay, wait for a minute. Whatever questions you have, now you take it after the session. Otherwise, we won't be able to do what we are required to do now. Please stay back and ask them. So this is not primarily a doubt clearance session. This is usually a different session than one. It's mostly practice session. So pressing concerns you can ask. Rest of it you can keep for the end, or even come up for the live sessions on Saturday. You have multiple avenues to do this. Okay. I am going to start for today and quickly go on a revision for the week 1 contents. So we're going to mostly be looking at sounds of English, or 3 subpoints you see here. Is the screen, the slides visible to all of you?
Yes, ma'am.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay.
Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am.
Okay, so we look at vowels and consonants and long and short vowels, voicing, places and manners of articulation. Okay, we're mostly going to be dealing with that for today's class. Just a quick revision. You might have already watched the lectures and you would have understood them. But we'll run through them and see if there are problems that you face and there are gaps in learning so that we can fix it. Okay. So this diagram that you see on your screen, okay, this is a sectional representation of your vocal tract, right? In all classes that talk about the production of sound, we discuss this particular picture, right? This is important that you understand what these what the various parts in this pictures are, right? So if you see towards your left hand side, you see articulators. So all of that you see there under it, the heart palate, alveolar ridge, lips, teeth, they've all been marked properly, tongue, velum. These all are referred to as articulators, or the parts within your vocal tract and mouth that helps you produce the various speech sounds that you have, right? So one of the distinction of the sounds that you see in English is based on the place of articulation. So those places are these, right? The heart palate region, the alveolar ridge region, the lips, the teeth, the tongue. Usually these places coordinate with other parts in order to help you produce the speech sounds that we have in our languages. On your right hand side, you see something called the cavities, right? And there are 3 of them here, all marked in 3 different shades, right? The nasal cavity, then the oral cavity, and the pharyngeal cavity. Keep this in mind that in English language, you usually do not have sounds that are produced within the pharyngeal region. We mostly have only nasal sounds and oral sounds. Nasal sounds, they are usually produced when the air is blocked at the part here. If you can see, you know, there is vocal fold here. If it closes down, then the air, instead of passing through the mouth, right, it passes through the nose. So if there is a passage of air or passage of the flow of air through your nose, then the sounds you produce have a nasal quality, right? Like, you know, the sounds like na, ma, nga, na. Indian sounds, Indian languages will have more nasal sounds than what you can find in English. English usually has just 3. It has the na, the ma, and the nga, as in the end of words like ring, sing, etc. Our languages have more nasal sounds, of course. But what you need to understand about the nasal sound is that there is some amount of flow of air through your nose, the nasal cavity, which in turn gives a nasal quality to your sound produced. In the case of oral sounds, most of the stream of air is let out through your mouth, right? In that case, there will be no flow through the nose. It will be only released. The expulsion of the air will only happen through your mouth. And the sounds that are produced in that way, that is the ones without the nasal quality, are then referred to as oral sounds. Okay, are these 2 things clear to everyone? So except for the mana and nga, every other sound that you have in English will be oral sounds. Okay, get this part clear?
Yes, ma'am.
Is my sound echoing?
Little bit.
Okay.
Yes, ma'am.
But is it echoing to the level where you can't understand?
No.
ma'am.
No, ma'am.
Yeah, it could be because of the space that I am, you know, I have occupied.
Is there any combination of oral and nasal both type of sound?
Oral and nasal both. Oh no, so see, of course, when you're saying the nasal sounds, no, it has some oral articulation as well, right? Like say the word ma. Aren't you using your articulators within the mouth to say that? Eventually, you cannot say a word without you expel air through your mouth, right? But in nasal sounds, what happened? In addition to the flow of air through your mouth, there's a flow of air through the nasal cavity as well, which is why it gets some sort of nasal quality, right? You cannot speak without actually the air passing through the oral cavity, right? That much is understood. So,
Yeah.
in case of the nasal sounds, you will have some amount of stream of air passing through the nasal cavity, giving it a nasal cavity. That's it. In the oral sounds, you don't have that. That part of the air does not flow through your nasal. Yeah, that's it. Okay.
Yes, ma'am.
All right. Now, about pharyngeal cavity, like the arrow indicates, this particular part is your pharyngeal cavity, but in English, you don't have pharyngeal sounds. There are other languages which might have pharyngeal sounds, especially languages like Arabic and all. They may have pharyngeal sounds, but English does not have pharyngeal sounds. Okay, we mostly have only nasal and oral sounds in English language, right? So that's about the cavity. Articulators, like you see, you have the hard palate, the alveolar ridge. So the ridge is the part right behind your teeth, right? The part behind that, the roof of your tongue is what is referred to as the palatal region or the hard palate. Then behind the palate, what you see, this side is your velum, right? So this is your hard palate. This is the ridge. This is your hard palate, and behind that you have the velum. Velum is actually is quite back. Okay, almost. It's almost right before the throat area begins. So tough to see anything. It's only the roof and the ridge and the teeth and lips part, which is like very clearly felt or visible to us. The rest of the part is usually much behind the tract, and so it's not really observable. Lips, teeth, tongue, of course, you don't need an introduction to that. Uvula. You have something called the uvula. You can see your uvula if you can wide open your mouth. Okay. Look into a mirror and open your mouth widely. You will see a lobe-like structure hanging down from the roof. That is what is called uvula. But we don't have uvular sounds in English again. But uvula has a lot of role in the production of speech sounds generally. In English, you don't have uvular sounds, but there are languages which have something called uvular sounds. We do not have them. Okay. Larynx, the vocal folds, and glottis. You have a category called glottal sounds in English. Usually, the sound is categorized as glottal sound, but some people, it's a debatable thing. Some people would say it is not really glottal and it is just aspirational in nature. That's all. But for our purposes, we can consider her also as glottal sounds. Vocal folds, very important because it is the vocal folds that help you understand what voiced and unvoiced sounds are, right? So whenever you feel a vibration in the vocal cords, you know that it is voiced, right? So the difference between p and b. When you say p and you say b, you see that there is a difference in the way it is articulated, and that difference is directly related to the vibrations in your vocal cord. When you say p, there is a vibration which you can feel around your throat, right? When you say p, not that much, right? So vocal folds also, again, very important part in the vocal tract in the production of speech sounds. Okay. Any doubts from this part?
Ma'am, so if her is not called glottal, so what will it be called?
So her glottal sound is usually related to the sounds that are produced from the glottis region. But in English, you do not have it. it was classified as glottal in the beginning, but now there are people of the opinion that her is simply, it's just an aspirational thing, which is like an additional puff of air that comes in through the vocal tract. It is not necessarily a glottal sound, but since it is not, the change has not been made anywhere in the universal conventions, we still consider her also as glottal sound. Okay,
So I mean, do we consider any other articulators as being involved in production of her sound, or
no. Do you
none
feel
other?
there is anything? If you say her, it is mostly produced like a vowel sound, right? There is no
Yes.
obstruction. So yeah, that is a debatable area. This is the reason why a lot of people think that it is not a glottal sound, since the glottis has got nothing to do with it. But no changes have been made in the the forms
Books.
anywhere. So until that convention is put in place, you cannot like really go ahead and say that we have stopped using this as glottal sound.
Okay,
For
ma'am.
that reason, we still consider them as glottal. That's it.
Larynx, vocal fold, and glottis are the same region, are the same name.
No, they're all located in the same place. That's why, right? So larynx is like it's located around the vocal cords, and then right below that you have the glottis. So it's the regional specification. They're all different from each other, but they're too small to be distinguished in that picture. That's why. Okay, mostly found around the same region, but they are different places of articulation. Okay. So this keeping the articulators in mind is very important, because the places of sounds distinction.
Ma'am, what is a fricative glottal sound?
Sorry,
Fricative glottal sound?
fricative glottal sound.
Yes, ma'am.
Where did you get that from? Is that a question that you had?
Fricative glottal sound.
No, I understand that. I'm asking you, is that a question that you have, or are you just asking it out of?
What, ma'am?
Do you have a question based on fricative glottal? I don't know who is this asking. Just a
Yes,
minute.
ma'am. Yes, ma'am.
Oh,
The sound H is a fricative glottal sound.
sound, it's not hedged. When you say sound, don't say hedge, it is her. Okay.
Yes, sir. Yes, ma'am.
There is a question mark also in glottal.
From the assignment?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. If it's an assignment question, we'll discuss it later. I don't want to talk about it in this session. But yes, to answer immediately, her is definitely considered a glottal sound for the time being, at least, since we haven't made any changes to it. That is what we were discussing right now. Okay. So then we'll move on to this one. You might have seen this in the lectures. Have you or have you not? This
Yes, ma'am. We have.
Yes, ma'am, we have seen.
Right. So this is basically a representation of the vowel sounds based on the position of your tongue. Okay. So there are no other articulators that play any major role in the production of vowel sounds, because vowel sounds are produced through the free flow of air in the oral or the nasal cavity. So except for the tongue, there is no other articulators that would play a major role in its production, right? So vowels are produced without obstructions. But the differences in the vowel is dependent on the position of your tongue. So look at that. You have the front, central, back, and the high, mid, low. Here, you don't have to go into the details like high, mid, or low, mid, and all that. If you remember the distinctions of high, mid, and low, and the front, central, and back, that should be more than enough to understand the vowel placement. Okay. This further details of the high, mid, close, mid that you see in the diagram are not necessary for understanding. These are too much details and we don't need it. So look at it. From the diagram, can you tell me what are the front vowels? Sorry.
I.
Don't say I. What is the sound? It is E. Okay.
Yeah.
E
and
and
long
long
E.
E.
And E.
The short E and the long E, right? You will see an additional E sound right below the short and the long E. This is very, this is exclusive to the English language. You know, the words like happy, right? That word does not actually have the full E sound. It somewhere closes down in between. So it's not happy. You say happy. You don't say he's a happy man, you say he's a happy man. Okay. So that particular representation is for the English in between E, which is not like long or short. But it's okay. But if somebody asks you to transcribe happy in English, and if you don't want to use the special one, you can use the short, certainly not the long one. You can use the short E to transcribe it. Okay. But because we are discussing English now, I thought it is good that I also talk about the presence of, you know, certain specific ones that are there in English. But it's okay. You can do without it also. It's not extremely necessary that you know this part. But if you know the short and the long vowel part, then it should be more than enough. Okay. So yes, are E and E the only front vowels you see here?
There are three types of I. What is different between these
The is
three?
also there.
E and E.
The.
Short. Not a. What is that sound that you see there?
The.
It's A. A. Okay, as in the word pen. Pa, a, n, right? So A is also a front vowel. What else is also a front vowel?
A.
Right? As in the word cat or packet or whatever. So ka, a, t. So a. You can form it the front high vowel, which is E and E. Then you have the front mid vowel, which is A, and you have the front low vowel, which is A. Okay. So if somebody asks you how many front vowels, right, it means you will say 4 of them in English, right? So the long and the short E, then the A, and then the A. Okay. All of them are front vowels. Get it? So everything that you see on the right hand side.
Ma'am, please repeat it again.
Sorry.
Ma'am, please repeat it again.
The vowels, front vowels are short E, long E, then A, and then A. Okay, so 4 of them would come as, can be classified as front vowels. So the first set is the front high vowel, then you have the front mid vowel, and then the front low vowel, which is A.
Ma'am, but there are
Actually,
5
ma'am, about long O and short O, what is the region, ma'am? Central or back?
Sorry?
O. Long O and short O.
Long O and short O, where do you find it? It is at the back, no? See, look at the diagram. Both of them are back vowels, long and short O. Or towards the end, they are at the back of the tongue, produced mostly there. So they're called as back vowels. Front vowels are only E, E, A, and A. Okay. Ritik, you have a question? Please go ahead and ask.
Ma'am, in front and high, there is E and I type, means third symbol is. So there are 5 front vowel, no?
Yeah, I did not include it because for the purpose of transcription and understanding in receipt pronunciation, that distinction is not made much. Okay, that was just an additional thing I said. When you learn English phonetics, people introduce you to this, the third E that you see there. But it's okay. You can run your show even without that. It is not extremely important to know it. So if you want to say, okay, then you can say 5 front vowels. But I'm saying that third E that you see there is not that important. It is like a very, very detailed understanding of English phonetics. If you want, you can keep it. Otherwise, you can keep it out too. No problem.
But it is included in the vowel sounds, right?
And ma'am, probably in notes, it is not given also, the insert classes.
No.
Is that schwa, ma'am?
No, wait, please stick with one question at a time. There are people asking multiple questions at the same time. So with respect to this E, I would just say, please stick with the short and the long one. The third one that I've introduced is just to let you know that there is something, an additional E in English. Okay, so you don't have to bother yourself too much with that. So for your understanding, keep in mind mostly 4 front vowels in English. Okay.
Ma'am, but in sir's classes, like pit, they have introduced an I there.
Not
That is the
confusing
first.
the symbols. Somewhere the symbols might be different. Okay. So in certain charts, they use this symbol for the short E. Okay.
Yes.
Probably that is why you got confused. In sir's class, this symbol is used for the short E. If you saw that in the lecture.
Yes.
Okay. So yes, so that's the front vowels, and then someone was asking about O. See, all the variations of O, long, short, everything, they're all part of the back vowels. They're all produced in the back part of your tongue. Try saying the sound O and see where it is produced, right? You say E and you know it is the front part. You say O, you know it's the back part. You can feel it very well, right? So all of those, O and O, and even R, right? As in the word father. So O, A, U, all of them. So see 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 vowels out of the 12 pure vowels that you have are produced in the back part of your tongue, right? So 6 back vowels. And within that, your distinction would be the short U and the long U, which is the back high vowels, right? Back high vowels. Then you have the O, which is your back mid vowel. And then you have O and both of them are back mid vowels. And then the last part, the long O and long A, right? O and A as in father. Both of them are your back low vowels. Okay. So do you understand what this, how do we, distinguish this front, central, back and high, mid, low? What do you think it could be?
Front is near teeth, central is between teeth and uvula, and back is near uvula or velum.
Cool. So that is based on the region. Now, what is this high, mid and low? What do you think it would be?
It is the
Height of the tongue.
Height of the tongue. Okay. The rest of you, those of you listening, you also please keep this in mind. High, mid and low refers to the height of your tongue. If it is raised, then you call it the high vowel. If it is neutrally placed in between, then you call it the mid position. And if it is sunk low in your mouth, then it's called the low position of the tongue, right? So which is by which we mean the blade of the tongue, right? So high, mid and low are mostly in connection with the height of your tongue, and front, central, back are mostly the region, the tongue region, the front, central and the back region. Okay. All right. Now, so we looked at the back vowels, we looked at the front vowels and the distinction. And now what you have the central vowels, right? What are those central vowels? 2 of them you see mostly. They are, the first one you see there, the symbol, right? Somebody was asking about schwa, right? So this is schwa. This is the only unstressed vowel in English. In English, vowel is always stressed, right? So the only one that won't be stressed is your schwa, right? So it will be found in words like speaker, right? Speaker. So in that particular word, you do not actually pronounce the R. You don't articulate that R sound at the end of the word speaker. Instead, what you hear there is the schwa sound, speaker, a father, a teacher. Okay. Or you can find also the schwa in the beginning of certain words like again, around. Okay. At, 88 is actually at, not at. right? So this is that sound. So this schwa is also a central vowel in English. And then you have the other one, which is, you can say in some sense a long sound, right? As in the word bird, curd, right? That symbol is used for that. So both of these vowels together become your central vowels. Get this? So almost 4 front vowels that you have, then 6 back vowels and 2 of the central vowels, out of which one is schwa and that is unstressed. Okay? Anything that you
Ma'am,
want?
how to identify
More vowels.
stressed and unstressed vowels?
Sorry?
How to identify stressed and unstressed vowels?
How to identify stressed and unstressed vowel? No, stress is usually a property of the word. You don't take sounds and talk about it as stressed and unstressed. They gather the property of stress only when they appear in words or sentences. Okay.
Okay.
So in words, there are rules to see which part of it is, and more than the sounds, actually the stress is something that is related to syllables, right? Which is why they are part of the word. Syllables together make the word, and then within that, one of the syllables would be the stressed one and the other unstressed. So it's a concept that is related mostly with syllables and words, not with sounds.
Okay, ma'am.
Okay, so this is your vowel distinction. So this one is basically a set of words that they have used um, um, with the long and short vowels here. So remember, in terms of symbols, for long vowels, most of them are going to be followed up with a colon sign. Okay, like in the first example, you say beat, right? So an I followed by 2 colons, that represents the long E sound. Same for the long O sound, a U followed by 2 colon sounds. Whenever you see that symbol of colon followed with a vowel sound, the understanding is that this is a long one. Okay, but you don't have to know the symbols again. I repeat, you don't have to learn any of them. But you need to understand how the sound is articulated and which one has a long and a short vowel. In some cases, it will be very clear, like in the case beat and bit, and some cases it won't be very clear, like the word verse that you say there, right? Some people would think verse has short vowel, but if you articulate each of the sound that makes up that word individually, you will understand that the second vowel sound that the first vowel sound that you see in the word verse is actually an elongated one. Another example is earth, right? It's not earth, right? You say earth. So obviously this is a long vowel that you use, and the vowel you use there is similar to the long vowel you have in verse, earth, curd, right? All of them have the same long vowel. Another one which people get most often confused with is the long O. Okay, so daughter.
Excuse me, ma'am. How to fought pronunciation, ma'am?
How to?
Fought. Pronunciation fought.
Spell the word, please.
Long vowel.
No, just give me the spelling of the word. That's all.
He's asking
Fougst.
about fought.
Is it THOUGHT that you mean?
FOUGHT.
F-O.
FOUGHT. Fought, right? Yeah. Fought is pronounced with a long O. Right? Fought. It's not fought, it is fought. Please raise their hands.
Just like go.
Just like?
Go.
No, that grow is different. Grow doesn't have a long O or
grow, not grow, ma'am. Only go. Go. Go.
GO also doesn't have a O sound. It is actually what go has as a diphthong. It is g, and u. Go. It's not go. Okay. I'm not sure if I have that example here with the diphthong. If it is there, let me quickly check it. If it is there, I'll show you what it is. No, we don't. But
how can it improve, ma'am?
The
About sound.
O is not O. Okay, it is a diphthong sound. It is O. Go. All right. Yeah. Any other question? Okay. About fort. Yes, fort has a long vowel O, like it's given here. So hot is short vowel, but fort is long vowel. Then words is long vowel. Boot is long vowel. Beat is long vowel. Ravi.
Good morning, ma'am. I wanted to ask, does mispronunciation of the word alter the sound of the word?
What alters the sound? Sorry, come again.
Mispronunciation. A wrong pronunciation.
Wrong pronunciation alters the word. Yes, sometimes, because see, instead of take the example beat and bit. Instead of a long vowel, if you use a short vowel for beat, then the meaning changes entirely, right? Because the only difference between the word beat and bit is of one sound, and that is the long and the short one. If you change that, and the meaning changes completely.
Okay. And ma'am, could you just help me out with the word with the word the, as in the? You can sound it as the, and also sometimes it's sounded as the. So how do we understand the sound of?
There is no need of maintaining that distinction, but some people would tell you when used along with consonant sounds, you would like as in after THE, if the first sound that follows is a consonant, then you would say the. And if it is a vowel, then you would say the. That is usually the distinction that you make. So you say the apple and the boat. Okay, that is usually the suggested difference between the and the, but I don't think it is like a very strong convention. You can either say the or the. That's not a problem. It's understood that the function is not basically in connection to pronunciation. It has more of a grammatical function than anything else. So,
Ma'am, how can anyone understand that hot is a short vowel sound while faut is a long vowel sound?
Understand, it's just the length of the sound, that's all. When you listen to beat, you know that it's a long vowel, right? I'm not saying E, I'm saying E. So the length itself would let you know that it is a long vowel. So this is the short and the long vowels. The length of the vowel is basically a physical quality of the sound. And it is very well manifested. So we cannot apply any formula to understand that. The only thing is we'll have to listen more and train ourselves to understand. But I think the beat and bit differentiation is quite clear, right? It is not very tough to understand. One is short and one is long. But if you're facing difficulty, I think most of the people would find difficulty with vowels. And
basically, I want to know that what is the vowel symbol represent?
What is
vowel symbol represent actually I, U, what they represent?
They are used to represent the sounds. So
okay.
these symbols are the one that you see on screen are the symbols that are used to represent vowel sounds.
Ma'am, what are you saying previous? Please continue it.
I have one question. So does the length of the vowel decide the
I don't know what the other question was. I did not get your question, but I think this distinction between short and long vowel was clear. How to understand? You listen more and understand it. Okay, that's all. The focus needs to be more on the length part. And
okay.
About the other part that you see, symbols, they are representative of the vowel sounds. They don't have any other meanings. Or maybe they do, but for our class, we are concerned mostly with them as symbols for vowel sounds. Okay, next, Sampath, what was your question?
No, sorry, I was asking the same. So the length of the vowels decide the short and long vowel sounds.
Yes,
like
Yeah, right. Length of the sound decides whether it is a long or a short vowel. Definitely.
Oh, okay. Thank you.
Okay. Okay, so you can, I will definitely share these slides with you, so you can you can spend some time with it and understand it in a clear fashion. This particular one has all the 12 vowels that we use in English listed, all long and short. There is an additional column you see here with respect to roundedness. It's not very important. It's just, again, an additional feature that can help you classify the vowel sounds, but needn't require. This is about how the, what shape your lips take when you articulate the vowel sound. So in the case of E and E, you have the lips stretched, right? You have a stretched lips there. So in terms of roundedness, you can say stretched. But in case of oo or o and all that, as very visible from very, very self-explanatory it is that it is rounded, right? Not an important distinction, but if you want to add more details to how you understand the vowel sounds, then you can use roundedness as well. But for our purpose, the first three columns are the most important one. One is the height of the tongue, then the position of the tongue, and more importantly, among all the four that you have here, the length, the long and the short. Okay. So go through it and you will understand it carefully. I will be sharing the PPT, Rajdeep, don't worry. Both the PPT and then there's one additional worksheet that we have here. I'll share both of it and you can find it in the supplementary tab. After the class, you may check it. Maybe today or tomorrow, by today or tomorrow, it would be up on the website. So you can gather it from there. Okay, all right. Now, monophthongs, all the 12 vowels that we saw in that vowel diagram and we discussed, they're listed here. So this one has like a quick distinction of the short and the long one. The first 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 of them, right? They are short. So E as in bit, U as in foot, A as in get, then as in the, then O as in cot, then as in cut, A as in cat. Then there's one additional in English phonetics. They have included it, but I'm telling you, it is not very important. If you can skip that. Instead of that one, you can use your normal short E also. Not important to keep that in mind. It's all right. So 1, 2, 3.
Excuse me, ma'am.
Yes.
But in this list, ma'am, monophthong has A and E, A, which is the diphthong sounds, ma'am.
Which one is a diphthong sound? Sorry.
A, cat.
No, A is not a diphthong. It's a pure vowel.
We have only 2 diphthongs. Right?
No, there are not 2 diphthongs.
Eight
diphthongs, but A is not a diphthong for sure. A is a pure vowel.
And there are only 2 semivowels.
Don't confuse with the way it is written. The symbol might make it look like a diphthong, but it is not. It is.
There are 8 diphthongs, ma'am.
There are 8 diphthongs. Yes, correct. Okay, so the short ones you see here, and then the long is of course the longer counterparts of E, U, A, and O. Right? 5 of them, 5 long vowels. Diphthongs here, like you see here, 8 of them. So the first one is E, and as in the word here. And then U, as in per. Okay. Then A and together. So the pure vowel A and then the schwa So share. Then A as in bay or table or pale, etc. A and E together. Next is I, which is R and E. Surprise. That's the example. Next one is oi, O and E together. So boy. Toy, a lot of question in the forum with respect to the question on toy and poison and other things, right? This particular diphthong, oi, O and E. Then,
similar word, ma'am, join.
Yes, correct. Joint is also, you have a diphthong there after the sound.
Okay.
Right. Then the last two, the one ending in oo, which is o. This is the one that you find in the word go. Okay, somebody was asking what is the o sound after G in go. So that's not o, it is actually this particular diphthong. And oo, go. Okay, go. So boat, it is not boat, it is boat. Okay, oo, the diphthong o. Then the last one you have here is ow, and oo, as in word south, okay, or mouth, house, cow, all that. Okay, so they're all examples of the last diphthong ow. 8 of them in total. So 44 sounds, 24 consonants out of them, 20 sounds, 12 of them are vowels, pure vowels, 8 of them diphthongs. Okay. All right.
My question is,
Yes.
just like in Hindi, there is Devanagari Lipi, there are some letters, and in English, there is Roman, there are 26 letters. So where this phonetic symbol belongs, means in which type of script is
Are the one that are used to represent all the languages of the world, right? If you know the phonetic script, then you don't have to know Devanagari or Roman or Brahmi or anything. You can just use this. They have the symbols that can represent all sounds of all languages of the world, which is why
so
this
phonetic is itself it is a script.
Sorry, it is in itself a script, correct?
Just like Devanagari and Roman.
Yes, very much. But Devanagari may not be able to represent all the sounds across languages. Phonetic scripts can.
Okay, ma'am. It is developed by to represent.
It is developed by the International Phonetic Association to the IP. It's also referred to as the IPA chart.
Okay, ma'am.
Okay. They're very important when you are describing languages across the world. Any language of the world can be described and written using this particular script. All right, so now you have the consonant sounds here. Towards your right hand side, left hand side, you have your places of articulation, right? Bilabial means the ones that are produced using both your lips. Labia is lips. So p, b, m, and w. Okay. You would have seen w as semi-vowel in English, right? W and y. Remember, in terms of semi-vowels, both of them have vowel-like qualities, but they are mostly consonants, right? Because they can't form syllables. One of the qualities of the vowel sounds is that they can form syllables. Since semi-vowels cannot do that, they are not syllabic, that is, they're not syllabic in nature, so they're mostly counted under the category of consonants. But because of the glides that they have, they are sometimes referred to as semi-vowels to show that they have this gliding tendency, right? So in the first column that you see, bilabial, places of articulation, both your lips. So you have per, b, m, and v in English, right? 4 sounds. Labiodental, when you have to use your lips and your teeth together. So f, v. Try saying all these sounds aloud, and you will clearly understand the places of articulation, right? Yeah, f and v. So your upper teeth, right? It touches your lower lip, the back part of your lower lip. That is labiodental. Dental, th and the, right? So your tongue is slightly placed between the upper and the lower teeth. It is not completely in between it, but it just, the tip of the tongue barely touches the space in between your upper and the lower teeth. So that's th and the, that's how you have it. And they call the dental sounds. What you'll also see is that along the upper part, you see the manners of articulation as well, right? Stop, fricative, nasal, approximant. That particular category is based on the nature of the flow of air. You know, how obstructed the flow of air is what decides your manner of articulation. In case of stops, what happened? The flow of air is suddenly brought to a closure, right? So you say p or b. You close your mouth and then there's a sudden release of air, right? An extreme violent release of air. You say p and you say b, right? So that kind of sounds are called stops. And together with it, the place of articulation, that is the bilabial, both the lips, makes the sound p and b as bilabial stops, right? That is how you categorize the differences and the distinction of sounds. If you look at m, what we know is that m is nasal in nature, right? But it is also bilabial. You need both your lips to produce it. At the same time, it is also nasal. It has a nasal quality. So you call it the bilabial nasal. Same happens with v. It's a bilabial approximant. Okay, approximant usually when there is air around your tongue region. That's called an approximant. So l, r, y, v. Whenever you say these sounds, you see that the air is there's a flow of air around your tongue region. Right. That is why it is called approximant. Is this? I'm sorry, I'm just taking a quick look at your chat. Okay, nothing important. Okay, then you have alveolar sounds, which means say cha and what happens? Your tongue touches the ridge part, that is the part behind your teeth, right? The hard part behind your teeth. So ta, da, sa, za, na, la, ra, all of these sounds are alveolar. So they're produced using this this particular place of articulation, and within which you have the differences of the manner of articulation. We discussed nasal and stop. What is fricative and affricative? Any idea, anybody?
Fricative sounds usually have friction in air and some part of our
Correct.
mouth.
Correct.
While affricative, I think, does not have that.
Yes, yes. Both of them are obstruents, which means that there is obstruction of air. But when the air is released after the obstruction, you feel a friction, right, in the release of a fricative sound. But that friction is not there in the affricative sound. That's the basic difference between both of them. So say cha, ja, and sh, right? You feel the difference between all the three sounds with respect to the obstruction of sound and the later friction that you have while you release the air after the obstruction. That's the basic difference of the manner of articulation. Palatal sounds, like just now we talked about sh, and then English has a very special sound. It's called j, as in the word measure, pleasure, prestige. Okay, so it's not sh. The sounds that you hear in those sounds is not a sh sound. It's a j sound, right? Prestige or pleasure, not pleasure, right? This is an important distinction. This can, if you articulate it wrongly, your English doesn't sound very good, right? So people who are practicing the sounds, concentrate on two sets of sounds that you need to concentrate on with respect to practicing is sh and the j sound, right? Learn to make that distinction. So ship, but not pleasure. Okay, pleasure, not pleasure. Right. Then you have the velar sounds. Okay, so in the palatal sounds, you also have the ch, the j, and the y sound. Okay, the last symbol that you see here in the palatal list, it shows like a J, but remember that it's not pronounced j, it's y. Okay, so sh, j, ch, j, and y. All of them are palatal sounds. The sound that is formed by the obstruction at the roof of the tongue. Then velar sounds produced from the velar region. You have k, g, and ng. Three sounds. K, g, both of them stops, and ng, nasal velar. Glottal, h, like I already mentioned, debatable, but it is right for the time being universally listed as the glottal sound. So we consider V2 for our course take as a glottal sound. So glottal fricative, you got your answer, you have it in front of your, right on your screen. So her is a glottal fricative.
Ma'am, what does that elongated S mean? What what
Sure,
sound?
sure. As in
Sure.
sure.
Okay.
Vanilla, yes, please ask your question.
Good afternoon, ma'am. How to understand the sound for that pronunciation for these phonetic symbols, madam?
You don't have to. If you want to, you can spend some time with the chart and try and master it. But I would say you don't really need it. I am using it so that since we are not face to face, I need some interface to talk about the sound. So I've used the chart. But you really not have to learn these symbols. Okay, what you
Okay,
should
madam.
be more is on the identification of sounds. Okay, if you're able to identify the sounds correctly, you don't need the symbols. Symbols is just for the representative purpose.
Okay, because
But
this
ma'am, in
Shaja,
question,
these symbols, Sha, Ja, and all, only if you tell we can understand. We don't know what sound it is. That is why I asked.
Yeah, so that's what I'm saying. I need
Okay.
an interface since this is not like a face-to-face class. So I've
Okay,
used.
ma'am.
You don't need it, okay? But
Okay, ma'am.
if you want, please go ahead and learn it because it's very useful.
Okay, ma'am. Thank you.
Yeah, someone else was speaking. I see two hands raised.
ma'am, but in graded assignment and in practice question, there are symbol given and we have to identify the word.
That would be
Which,
only for the vowels. I don't think they're using it for the consonant sounds.
okay, means vowel, all the vowel symbol we have to
Vowels we
learn
need to know
thoroughly.
this, and that too only when you're using it for long and short vowels because there's no way to distinguish it otherwise. I don't think they've used phonetic symbols. Instead, you might see like if they have to say long E, they would write I instead of E and then a colon. Or long O, they will simply write U to show that it's a.
Yes, ma'am.
Yeah, so that is not phonetic script. That is just to indicate that there is an additional length that is indicated. Okay.
Okay, ma'am.
Don't be worried about that. None of these symbols will appear in your exams or your assignments. Only for vowels because we need to distinguish the length. We use it. Otherwise, nowhere you will find it. Okay. All right. So. You have a chart which we'll talk to you about. So see, this particular sound that I was talking about, the sh sound in English, which is different from sh, right? Where is sh? Sh is here. Sugar. So this sh is different from the j here. So leisure, but sugar. So you don't say leisure, right? It's leisure and then sugar, right? This distinction, please be on roll on that because it's a very, very important distinction. There are two distinctive sounds in English. If you want to make your pronunciations better, your articulations better, then two sets of sounds that you need to focus are these two. A lot of us, particularly in the Indian context, we also mix up sir, sh, and other things, right? So we have it won't be a surprise that we'll go wrong on the j and sh too. So just an extra watch on that. And the rest of the consonants are fine. In terms of consonants, they are mostly unproblematic. Only this sh and j should be handled with a little bit of care. Okay, all right. So voiced and unvoiced. Anybody who has a difficulty with voiced and unvoiced? In terms of description, it is basically the vibrations in your vocal cord. So say all these sounds aloud and see the difference. If you see, you will see that all of those pairs are based on different places and manners of articulation. So p and b, both of them are bilabial. So among the bilabial pair, you have b as the articulated one, right? Sorry, the voiced one. Right, so p is unvoiced, no vibration when you say it, but b, yes. But what about m? What do you think? Because m is also a bilabial sound. What do you think about m?
Nasal one, ma'am.
Unvoiced.
Unvoiced.
M is voiced. Remember, all nasal sounds are voiced. Okay. Nasal sounds have to be definitely voiced. So ma, n, all of them are voiced sounds. Okay. But oral sounds, you have within the bilabial distinction, b as the voiced one. Then ch, j is the voiced one in that pair. F and b, they are labiodental sounds, among which you have v. Okay. So this v is different from your w v. There is a difference in the way you pronounce it also. The W sound, as in the word, as in words like world or worthy and all that, make sure that both your lips are rounded when you say world. Okay, but V is different. V is labiodental, so your upper teeth touches your lower lip part. Than, okay, very, but world. You use both your lips rounded when you have to use the W sound in the word. That's the basic distinction between the v and verb sound.
शुरू में दो सब बच्चा पढ़ा शुरू करे है खत्म कर 50 को पे आ गई है सब बंद नहीं ऑफ ना करे ऐसे छोड़ दे इसका
Okay. Right. So for and v, among that you have v as voiced. Then you have s, z, right? Palatal sounds. You have z as the voiced one, right? K, g, again velar sounds. In that pair you have g as the voiced one. T, d, alveolar sounds again. You have d as the voiced one. Th and the, you have
dental sound.
Dental sound, and among that g is your voiced one. Sh, ja, the last one, you have j, as in the word pleasure, prestige and all that. That is a voiced one, right? So the voice distinction is only about the vibration that you feel in the vocal cord. That's it. Nothing more than that. Okay, all right. So I think that gives you a fair idea about the sounds of English language. I will upload this and one additional practice sheet for you to see all these things clearly and practice a few questions there. You can find it in your supplementary tab by today evening or tomorrow. In any case, if you're not able to find it, then please write to the forum and let us know. Because sometimes what happens, you send in the materials and things don't get uploaded. So please check this once in a while if your materials are uploaded or not. If not, please write to us.
Excuse me, ma'am.
Yes, please.
Any practice or exercise for this lesson, learn the of
it is there. That's what I'm saying. I'm going to upload it. You can find it there. And you can, because most of them are identification questions. So it doesn't make sense for us to sit and repeat it one after the other, right? So it would be there. You can check it on the site along with the slide. You will find it there.
Okay, okay.
Yeah. Hrithik and Pranjali, your hands were up from a very long time. Is there anything that you want to say?
Hello, ma'am.
Yes, Pranjali.
Ma'am, what is the sound of colon?
Sound of?
Colon.
Sound of colon?
Yeah, ma'am. After the vowels, we put colon, right?
Yeah, the colon indicates long vowel. Okay, length is what it indicates. If something is long, then you put a colon to indicate that it's a long vowel. Okay.
Okay, ma'am. Thank you.
Okay. But I think in your practice assignments, it would be mostly the same vowel would be repeated again, like you, or I, or o, to show that the length is, that what we mean is a long vowel. But yes, if you find the colon, then that also means that it's a long vowel. Okay.
Thank you, ma'am.
Okay, no problem. Anybody else? Harshika?
Good afternoon, ma'am.
Is meeting time over, ma'am?
Yeah, it is done. We are done with the class. So those of you who want to leave the session, you can. But if you have doubts, you can stay back.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
Yeah. Okay. Harshika.
Good afternoon, ma'am.
Good afternoon, Harshika.
Ma'am, I have a doubt. Semi-vowels cannot occur at final position, right?
Semi-vowels cannot occur at final
Semi-vowels
position.
cannot occur at final position.
Sorry, the last question again.
Semi-vowels cannot occur at final position, right?
Can it not? Yeah, mostly they don't come in the final position. Yes.
Ma'am, we have example like few. In few it occurs.
Few. And you. No. What occurs in the end of few is the vowel sound oo, right? Not semi-vowel here.
Few is the example of semi-vowel. And here it is coming the sound of.
Few is not an example of semi-vowel. The semi-vowel sounds are v and y, right? But when you write down the word, so you don't have to write down, just say the word hue. How many sounds do you have there? So first one is what? Her, right?
Yes, ma'am.
Then followed by?
Year sound,
right? Followed by year.
Yes, ma'am. Year sound is there.
Yes. And what is the last sound you hear?
Oh.
In hue, what is the last sound you hear?
Is
it or is it oo?
It is year. A year.
No, it's year, but what does it end with? Do you say here or do you say hue?
You.
So what's the last sound you hear? It's oo, right?
Yes, ma'am.
So what is that? It is a vowel sound, right?
Okay, ma'am. Thank you.
Okay. Okay, all right, guys. If you don't have any more questions, then we can close for today.
Ma'am, I have one doubt, ma'am.
Yes. This is Sharwani.
Yes, ma'am. In activity question, there is one question. She wants to eat. What is the sound between to and eat? Semi-vowel, va or ya? I was unable to get that answer.
Did you follow the lecture? The answer is there in the lecture.
Yes.
Yes. Watch it again and see. This is an important part that you need to understand. He wants to eat or she wants to eat, whatever it is. Very clearly mentioned in the lecture. What do you think is the semi-vowel used?
To and eat. She wants to eat. I got ya sound. But answer was va sound.
It is va. It is to eat, not to eat. Okay. In English connected, you don't use the year. Whenever you have a rounded vowel at the end, usually the semi-vowel following is ver.
Oh, okay. Oh, thank you.
I have a question, ma'am. How and in any words, how many long vowels short words?
In which word?
Any words, just like assignment. Yeah.
We don't have any rule like that, Sudhanshu. That there should be these many short vowels or long vowels. You can have any number of them. Okay. Depending on whatever length the word allows. Okay. So that we don't have a rule with respect to how many is allowed and how many are not allowed. It is based on the word that you have at hand. That's all.
Okay.
I hope that's the question you asked. If okay, anybody else? Any question?
Yes, ma'am.
Hello, ma'am.
Yeah, Hritik, go ahead.
Ma'am, there are many sessions occurring like learn the rope, solve with us. What are the nomenclature does this mean?
Solve with us, I do not know. Learn the rope is basically something that is related to training and drill. Okay.
So is there any list of the all nomenclature so that we before the classes we can understand what type of the things are going to happen in the classes?
I think most of those sessions are meant for practice sessions and taking you up through the video lectures. So video lectures, since you don't have any interface face with the profs or the instructors. The program has designed certain sessions like this so that you have a direct platform to come and interact and clear the doubts off there, and for us to give you certain sessions which we think are required to help you learn the contents of the videos. So that would be there for all the subjects, I think, or all of the courses will have.
And ma'am, some lectures are not going live on YouTube, the Google Meet.
Some lectures in the sense of video lectures?
The live lectures that are going, some are going on Zoom and some are going on Google Meet.
Oh,
So
yeah, that could be because of some, participant restriction or, data usage or all that. Those are usually admin internal problems. We don't know why do they happen, or, probably they have a policy with respect to participant number or anything.
okay, ma'am.
No, we don't use any books at the foundation level, Manas. You can mostly look at these materials. There should be more than enough. To give you materials, it would be too complicated. You will need, sincerely, you don't need that much of details. Which is why we don't suggest any specific materials. POD refers to online degree program. So they've just slightly mixed up the order of that. What it means is online degree program. Okay, all right, guys. So I will see you next week again. So keep looking at the practice question.
Hello, ma'am.
Yes.
Hello, ma'am.
Yes, please.
Yeah, ma'am. It is necessary to remember all consonants, phonetic sounds for the qualifier exam. Or charts. Hello, ma'am. Am I audible? Ma'am, it is mandatory to, to remember charts, consonants, and phonetic sounds for the qualifier exam.
No, you don't have to remember the chart, just to understand the sounds clearly. That's enough. So there is no point of remembering because you will anyway forget. It is going to the whole of thing. It won't help you in any sense. Just know the sounds well. That's it.
Okay, ma'am. Thank you. And ma'am, what is the exact meaning of fuzzy sounds? Fuzzy inputs.
Is Aravind around? I think you had a question.
Yeah, ma'am. Am I audible?
Yes, you are.
Ma'am, do we need to memorize the articulation that the words from where, which part of our that is producing? Do we need to memorize that?
How do you memorize? I don't think you can memorize even if you want to. So no, you don't have to do.
So will there any questions like that? Like these are the words that produced from dental or retroflex, like that questions?
No. You will only be asked to identify the sounds, and that would be mostly if you have like an audio sample.
Okay. Okay, ma'am. Thank you.
Okay. All right. So we'll close for today. Thank you for joining in, and we'll meet next week again. Thank you so much, all of you.
Thank you. Bye.